Hey, it's theMadMattster here again. I'm going to do a series of videos um, with dating advice. Now, basically, in my dating advice videos, I've done a few before, which were kind of sloppy, but whatever. I just like to do them for the hell of it, and I'm just going to do these ones. They're based on a series of articles I wrote for a blog last year, so I'm just going to be sort of getting them summarized and so forth. So this is one of the first things that I think that I was raised with that I really do not like as far as dating and what I was kind of conditioned to believe. So, and this is in reference to it. So, dating myths and misconceptions, part one. Wait and she'll come along. So I decided to make this first post as far as this these dating videos about the misconceptions and myths that guys with less experience get about dating. And you get it from peers, parents, sisters, brothers, though oftentimes it's from female peers or family members. More on this in a later post. One of the ones I've heard myself time and time again, and I've heard directed at others, that goes something like this. Well, stop looking for a relationship and you'll find one. Or some permutation of this. I will say from my experience, it is total and utter bullshit. I'm sorry to offend those who give this advice, but it's overly simplistic and if done out of sheer pity, counterproductive. As a personal note, I was first told this at an early age, probably about age 13, and I had just gotten home from the roller skating rink with some buddies of mine, and it was sad that both my friends got to dance with two attractive females. Well, I was rejected for asking maybe one girl at the whole place to dance during the dance songs, and it just shows you how nervous I was. And this is when roller rinks were a little bit more popular. So I had lamented the rejection and was talking to my sister about it when she first gave me this answer that it's repeated far too often. And I see repeated far too often. It's like by the sheer will of the universe, God or whatever, that if you stop looking, you'll magically find someone approaching you who will fulfill your desires for relationship or physical companionship. I'm sorry, but from past experience and talking to countless others, it just doesn't work that way. If you're a male in our society, especially one who is less social than others, suffers from social anxiety, doesn't have model looks or personality or whatever, that's something I don't really have to worry about now. You really do have to work for it. I mean, it was almost 3 years after that conversation that I had my first date. I started even hanging out with girls, but even that turned into a disaster that didn't have me losing my virginity until age 24. In further installments, I'll further apply my own experiences to help with this blog or these series of videos. But needless to say, I don't believe that advice worked. Without berating my sister for said advice, let's look at what I think the intention of what was being said rather than what was actually interpreted. I think she was trying to say, and I think a lot of people what they try to say when they say this is that don't act desperate, live your life, and you'll meet people naturally. But she should have said, if you're an outgoing and happy person, but it was a little early in my development to know that I wasn't one of those guys at the time. I think this may have been the intention for all this type of advice, no matter how it's stated. But I say, why give this advice if it's so misinterpreted, vague, and unrealistic? What I think people should say is improve your life, be a happy person, be on the lookout, and go after those who interest you when you encounter them, or put yourself in situations where you do encounter them, rather than these other formal proclamations. So I think we would all be better if we were honest with each other instead of giving hope to those who lack experience. Of course, the intention is to comfort the guy who's having trouble, but a little kick in the pants would be good in these situations. It wasn't only from my sister that I heard this from, by the way, or even the only family member for that matter. And to be fair, she did give me good advice later, but all in all, it just illustrates the point I'm trying to make. The way to get things going in life is by doing and going after what you want. If you're concerned with others think too much or are too desperate, yes, it will affect what you're going after. But nevertheless, being a positive person and being comfortable with yourself, as well as being proactive, is to me the way to go for what you want in life. So, hopefully it's still recording. I was having trouble yesterday with the uploader. So that's what I got to say about dating. As far as when people say, oh, don't worry about it. Just wait and sit on your ass and don't do anything. I mean, basically, they don't say it like that, but they basically a lot of the advice that people give about dating is like, oh, don't try to look for anybody, or don't try to whatever. It's like, yeah, I mean, sometimes it could be good not to be so desperate or so focused on it. But I'll give you a little story. So in 2011, one of my longest term relationships resulted in me really being the opposite of that advice. I I mean, I was on the sites, those the internet dating websites like a madman. I was on there every day. I'd emailed hundreds of women. I was using some scripted emails and stuff back then, which I don't really like to mess with as much anymore. I just think it's kind of back then it kind of worked in a way better than it does now. I think just I don't know the way the internet has gone and just our society. I know it's only 4 years ago, but still. So I think that it really didn't. It was counterproductive in the end to use scripted emails and stuff. And I didn't only do that, by the way, but I wrote to email hundreds of women. God, I don't even know how many I emailed. Probably thousands, maybe 1,000. No, probably not 1,000. Maybe we're more like 500. And we don't even have that many women in this area that are single in this on those websites. I don't know. I can't really remember how many, but it was a lot, and I was on there a lot. I was just went through rejection after rejection. I date after date. I met women that I was just like, what the hell? Just stuff, experiences like that. I dated, a few women seriously, and I found, a girlfriend for a while. But I mean, it was my longest relationship. But the thing is that when people talk about don't try to look for a woman and shit like that, I would say fuck that advice. Say try, work your ass off, but don't make it your whole life, because then you'll have, at the end of the day, that's the only thing you'll be doing is this relationship, the only thing that you have to shoot for. So I think it's partly correct, but the intention is maybe better than it comes out to. And I used to hear that advice. I'm like, oh, I'll just be myself and just fucking not shave. Well, of course I'm. It's kind of funny. No, I mean I just mean like I don't mean that because I'm not shaved today, but I was just making a joke about that. But I just think not looking is just the stupidest thing you can do. It doesn't mean you have to be like a Bye Felipe kind of guy and say I want to fuck you, and even every email message just because you're looking for get laid or get a girlfriend. But it just means you got to be aggressive. Like I'll tell you another story. And maybe there might be a future vlog post about this too, but I think you just don't take, it's not like you don't, well, okay, so you don't take the first no with dating necessarily as set in stone. That doesn't mean, as far as sexual stuff, of course. I'm just talking about with dating, like actually getting together with someone or trying to date them. I would say, like with the online arena, one of my, my longest term relationships, she didn't email me for like a week or something once, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess this is done. But I was just like, fuck this. I like this girl so much. I know she didn't respond to my last message, so I'm gonna send her kind of a funny email, referring to that, just like exaggerating how like depressed I am about it, just as a funny thing. And I sent it to her, and yeah, that was a relationship I had for a long time. So that's basically the essence of this video. Is I think you just need to be. I think you need to be aggressive. I think you need to be a regular person as far as whether or not you're. I mean, if you're approaching women in real life in a decent way. I'm gonna give more on that later. But or if you're emailing women, you just need to do it. Or obviously this is for heterosexual cis men. This advice. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. That's what I'm trying to go for. But that's basically what you have to do. You just have to keep pushing it. I mean, you just got to keep. And obviously, it goes both ways. It's like, well, if a girl doesn't respond, and you're wasting your time, you just got to be able to just cut it off. Just it's like, okay, whatever. there's another girl that's even better looking to personally for me, that's around the corner of the bar or on this other site or that I'm talking to already. You know, you got to be able to do that. So this is basic stuff. I think a lot of people are missing basic stuff in our life. So, I mean, that's one of the things, one of the reasons why I think the divorce rate and people get stuck with these people that they're not compatible with is because they don't have the power of choice. And that'll be my next video.